Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is a special episode of Framingham Fan2Fan, highlighting Framingham football, including the youth program and the exciting improvements in the Framingham High School football team. So let's get ready to kick off the upcoming season with a look back at the efforts that drove the rejuvenation of Framingham High School football. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, and I'm excited to welcome you to the best of Framingham Fan2Fan. In this episode, we highlight Framingham football, specifically Framingham High School and the youth football and cheer programs. Yes, I too am a lover of the Brady Belichick boys team that fills Foxborough Stadium with Super Bowl trophies and banners. But as a sports fan, I'm also enthusiastic about the excitement generated by Framingham players of all ages, experience, and skills right here. Several of my Framingham Fan2Fan episodes on Access Framingham TV touch on that Framingham experience. In this special highlight show, we explore the recent upgrades to Framingham High School football under the leadership of Athletic Director Paul Spear and head football coach Ed Manti. We first spoke with Paul and Ed upon their appointments in 2017. We also looked at the Framingham Youth and Cheer program that underlies local football. Then, in this episode, we'll move on to look at their 2018 observations and conclude with the exciting win over Natick on Thanksgiving weekend at Fenway Park that gave the Flyers a winning 2018 record and a Bay State League Division championship. So stay tuned and get ready for some exciting Framingham High football in the upcoming season. My guest today is Paul Spear, recently named Athletic Director at Framingham High.
I'm really looking forward to this fall, I got to tell you, because we've got a lot of exciting things going on.
Well, the fall sport that obviously is most visible is football, and I've lived in Framingham since 1984. And I'm not sure that I could count 10 winning seasons that we've had here if I looked at Framingham South. And I mean, I could be cheating a little bit, but let's face it, Framingham hasn't been a football power. And you said you've got a new coach coming on this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's nothing that it really kind of gets me fired up. When I hear people, when they, I mean, I know our program hasn't had a lot of wins, and that's something we want to fix. That's something we're going to make right, and that's something that I take personal pride in seeing this through to make our program what it should be. And I know what people say. They say with all the kids we have in that school, there's got to be enough talent to win some football games.
Right.
And that, I've lived in town all my life, so I know what people say. And I've also been at the school to see that, hey, we need to, not only do we need to do better, we need to do better getting kids out for that team. We need to get our best athletes convinced that they should play football. That's what we need in town. We don't need our best athletes, our hockey players, our lacrosse players, our wrestlers, our baseball players saying, well, I'm just going to play baseball or I'm just going to play hockey. We got to get them out in the fall, get them on the field, and get them playing football. We got to get the kids committed. Coach Manti, our new coach Ed Manti, he's done a wonderful job, him and his coaching staff, of getting the kids committed to getting in the weight room, to working out, to exercising, to being ready, to making good choices in the off season. And so far, every indication is that we're going to win some football games this year. And to me, I want to see us not only win a few games this year, I want to see us consistently win at the sport of football. That's what I want to see us do. And I want to see us go from people saying, well, we're not a football town. We've got one of the most beautiful stadiums, if not the most beautiful stadium in the state.
Right.
And there's no excuse for us to not transform this into a consistent winner in the sport of football.
For all the warts that football has with concussions, and one can be critical of it, it's still it's still kind of a flagship sport that I think in many ways, if the football football team is good, the local community will support it. And of course, the worst thing would be to have a great team that nobody supported. And in some ways, if the community supported it, I suspect young kids would want to play more. Isn't there a connection there somehow?
Well, I mean, obviously, we want to see good crowds every night. And I can tell you, having seen the last couple years, particularly last year, at the very beginning of the season, people were there.
Right.
They showed up, and unfortunately, when you don't have success, I mean, let's face it, the reality is people want to be associated with winning teams. When our volleyball team won the state championship a few years ago, there were 500 people from Framingham in a gym at Concord Carlisle watching a volleyball game.
That's fantastic.
Because they want to be associated, they want to see the team win, they want to be a part of success. And so, as the season went on last year and the team didn't succeed, wins and losses on the field, I think there were a lot of wins off the field. I think, the experience was great for a lot of the kids in terms of, having a wholesome experience. But for fan support, people want to see the team have success, and then they show up.
I think coaching does make a difference.
Oh, it's absolutely true. It makes a difference. There's no question about it. I think coaching at any level, makes a difference. If you have coaches who are there for the players, have good relationships, know the sport really well, can communicate it really well, can teach, set a good example, there's no question that they'll provide a better experience.
I mean, the leading example of that is certainly Bill Belichick. Is there anything that he does that you think you want to use in your own way? He just runs his organization in such a sharp way. I mean, the rest of the country probably hates him, but I mean, he's certainly one of my heroes in the business. And in terms of from basic stuff like just do your job, which we all hear, to other kinds of things.
Bill Belichick has it figured out. I mean, to me, the one thing he does the best is keep his players in the moment. No better evidence than the Super Bowl. But there's so many times that they've been behind and come back. He keeps his players in the moment. They play one play at a time, and they've got it figured out, and they've got it down pat. The psychological pieces of the sport, they've got them down, and they've got it figured out, and it's something. Tom Brady, I think, has it figured out too, and it's one of the things that you have to teach and teach and teach and teach. Being mentally tough, disciplined, and staying in the moment. Again, you watch them highlight videos of that Atlanta Falcons, and you're just like, this is incredible that they didn't start yelling at each other. They didn't get down. They weren't concerned with anything. Just make the next play, and look what it added up to.
I absolutely love that thought in the moment. I mean, talk about lessons that a sports program can teach young people.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's so true in so many other aspects of life. I don't care whether you're selling hamburgers at Burger King or whether you're a CFO somewhere. Well, I think
I spent the morning talking to one of our players and his family, and that was the whole theme of our discussion was you're learning life lessons through sports.
Yes,
that's what we're doing here, and that's what people who support Framingham sports, support kids playing athletics. That's what it's all about: is getting these kids getting good life lessons learned through playing a sport. That's what this is all about, and that's what we're trying to do at Framingham High School.
Paul, my guest today is Ed Manti, the new head football coach at Framingham High School. He was the head football coach at Westwood High School for 6 years, where he won 3 championships in a very competitive Tri-Valley League. Ed played football himself at Boston University. And Ed, welcome. It's great to have you on the show and to have a chance to talk about the improved fortunes of Framingham High School football.
I look forward to talking just about that.
You bring a nice winning tradition here. Tell me a little bit about what you did at Westwood that you think is transferable here to Framingham.
I think the biggest thing that we did at Westwood was, we were certainly never the biggest team. We certainly did not have, the biggest roster, but we had kids that believed in what we were doing. They trusted what we were trying to teach them. They believed in their coaches. They believed in their system, and they trusted their teammates. And that's something that we're certainly going to try to bring here to Framingham. Kids are funny that they're only going to give you everything they have if they trust that you have their best interest in mind. And certainly as coaches, that's what you want from your players, is that they're going to give you everything they have. And so our job number one here at Framingham is to get them to trust what we're trying to do, and that so far has been transpired in a little bit that we've been able to work together.
You got a great facility.
Man, I don't think that there is a better place to play high school football than our home field at Bowditch Field. I mean, you look, it seats 7,000 people, and like I said, there's 70,000 people here in Framingham. You know, we get 10%. We're doing pretty well. We should be able to sell that out all the time, and winning will help that. But great facilities. We got a brand new turf field at the high school that we just got redone. We've redone our locker rooms. We certainly don't go wanting in the facilities department.
Well, Friday night football. I mean, my son and his family live in Texas, and that's a religion there. And in Framingham, if you walk down the street and found 10 fans like me and asked them about what they do on Friday night, I'm not sure going to Framingham High School football game would be what they said that they were going to do. How do we change that?
Well, the simple answer is we win football games. So you win football games, then people are going to want to come. That's not always the easiest thing to do, but certainly that will help. If you put a good product out in the field, people will want to come see it, and that's what our plan is. It's going to be exciting brand of football. We're going to score some points, and then we're going to play the game that should be played, and hopefully the end result will be some wins and some guys to come see it.
One of the things that I really am emphasizing is trying to get people in the Framingham community to come out and support these programs, and especially the football program, which is kind of a cornerstone program. It probably shouldn't be, but it is. This is America in 2017. It still is in that direction, but because I think in many ways a local community helps define itself in ways by going together to common events, and whether it's a concert a music concert or a play that the theater department is putting on, or a football program. These are town events that the town taxpayers are paying for. It's a town event that where we can come together, and even if you don't watch the football game, the show is lots of times. Are you, as the football coach, do you have any responsibility for the cheerleaders or the band, or do you have to integrate with them somehow, or how?
I couldn't imagine myself trying to coordinate any of that stuff. I'm not very musically inclined, but that's exactly what it is. It's not just football. It's the interaction with the people in your town, and I should say in your city, in your community. It's going to support kids that they don't just show up on Friday nights and play football. I mean, there's a lot of work and there's a lot of effort that go into what you see on a Friday night, and that's not just the football players. That's the cheerleaders, like you said. That's the band, like you said. That's people selling raffle tickets. It's the people that line the field. It's a show.
Today I'm pleased to welcome back Paul Spear, the athletic director at Framingham High School. You brought in some new coaches. Probably the most notable to sports fans in Framingham is always the football coach. Ed Manti was one of my first guests last year, and
we brought in 2 basketball coaches. We brought in Coach Manti, and we brought in a whole number of others. But football being the high-profile sport that it is, Coach Manti came from a very successful career in Westwood. There's absolutely no denying the wins and losses that he had. He had a great career there, and he's in the process of putting things together. And I really felt as though we kind of knew this wasn't going to be a quick thing. Sure. It was going to be a process. And I think that the first year it was trying to change some culture, trying to change some old habits and ways that people were set in, and really implement what he wanted to in his program. I think year 2 he's got incredible buy-in from the student athletes. You can see the way that the kids are carrying themselves. And
today I'm pleased to welcome Ed Manti, the head football coach at Framingham High School. Ed, welcome back.
Dave, thanks.
You were one of my first guests last year, and you were just new as the head coach at Framingham High. You certainly had a lot of success as a coach at Westwood. And
what we're trying to do here at Framingham is trying to get kids to learn how to be successful and what it takes to be successful, and the little things that go into winning football games. It's not just showing up on Friday nights and playing well. It's all the things that lead up to it. It's the the winters in the weight room. It's the captain's practices, the little details of practice that make a team successful, make a program successful. So having been exposed to that at the college level, playing, having been on coaching a couple successful teams, it hopefully will translate real well. What's been great, when I first got here, they've had an established youth program for a while here, long before I got here. But we've really started to, open the doors to communicating with those guys. We had I guess back in May, we had a tackling clinic that we put on for the youth coaches. We communicate daily, or excuse me, monthly with those guys to make sure they're doing well. I've been to a couple of their games already on Sundays. So the fact that those guys are having success and then wanting to get up to the high school level and maintain that success has been a huge bonus for us.
Yeah, I recall seeing. Today I'm pleased to talk about youth football and cheer, and we have guests from the Framingham Youth Football and Cheer, and we have Tony Tolson, who's both a coach and a director of the league. We have with us, in addition to the coach, 2 actual participants in the league. We have Adriana Arundel, I'm sorry, one of the cheerleaders. And we have Keith Campbell, a football player.
Yes, sir.
It's great to welcome you all here. Thanks so much for joining me on Framingham Fan2Fan. Tony, why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about the program?
Okay, sure. Framingham Youth Football and Cheer is a nonprofit organization. And basically what we do is we get boys and girls out to play football and cheerlead. Roughly right now we have, I want to say about 130-ish football players, and I'd say about, 60 cheerleaders?
Probably like around that.
Yeah.
I know we have like 32 girls on our team, so
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
a lot.
And they're all not as big as these two.
Oh, no. We start our players at the 2nd grade level, and we go all the way up until 8th grade. So
Okay, good.
I asked these 2 to come join me because they've basically have gone through the program starting at that 2nd grade level, and I know
3rd grade for me.
Adriana's an 8th grader now cheering, and Keith is a 7th grader.
Okay. You told me you
awesome.
made a touchdown in Natick. Okay, so the ball's on what yard line, more or less?
I don't know.
Want to be close to the goal line?
Yeah, we're close to the
Okay,
goal
so
line.
okay, it's 3rd down, 1st down.
We run our formation, like the counter stuff that I told you.
Uh-huh.
I do that, and I'm running, and I run right through the hole that I need to, and I cut out to the outside, and someone's like right behind me, and he grabs me from my waist. I'm like, I have to make this, so I reach out like that, and I made a touchdown.
Okay, so the ball came to you and you took it into the end zone. It's a touchdown. And now the cheerleaders on the side, what did they do?
Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Touchdown, touchdown. Do it again. Get on that line one more time. Come on, bring it on in.
There's been obviously a lot of controversy about head injuries and youth football and all
Yeah.
that. Why don't you just talk a little bit about some of the things that you
Boy.
do in the program here to address that question?
I was hoping you brought this up because
Yeah.
it is a huge topic.
I'm sure it is,
And
yeah.
talking with parents and stuff like that, we get a lot of parents that kind of don't want their young children to play football, whether it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah,
and
there's probably some injuries in cheering too, I would think.
Yeah, like
And-
we've
but-
had several girls get hurt, like in this week.
Yeah. But go ahead, Penny.
And part of that reason is because of head injuries.
Right.
And watching your show, and I know you spoke on this subject with Coach Manti, and I have to agree with him 100%. It's the technique, it's the way we teach the kids, and again, as coaches, we go through certifications, and part of that certification is concussion awareness and proper teaching and technique. So that's stuff we work on daily. And well, I shouldn't say daily. When we have practice, we practice 3 days a week. But those 3 days a week, we are, really enforcing and making sure we're teaching the proper way to tackle.
So it's not just give them a $300 helmet.
No, that always
Get out.
doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Yeah. So what do you feel about your equipment and all that? You feel
Yeah.
you
we
feel safe
safe.
when you're playing? And
Yeah, before we put on equipment and everything, for 5 days, you have to have all your conditioning ready. We practice the right way how to tackle. After we practice how to tackle, we do safety, So it shows people how not to get hurt, where not to aim to tackle, and how to get low.
That's great.
And all this time, I never thought he was paying attention.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
this guy's paying attention to a lot of stuff.
Wish we had pads.
Yeah, I recall seeing some of the teams even at your games. They kind of come in mass to.
They do,
watch
yeah.
them.
So we've had a youth football night. We're having another one in 2 weeks. They like to come to the games. They used to practice on Friday nights, and we kind of said, hey, listen, we'd rather have you at the game. I mean, we can miss a practice to get to the game, and just to get them there and see Friday Night Lights at its best, and want them chomping at the bit to come up to the high school level and play.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
These kids should want to play there.
Sure.
So you finished your first year here. How about a couple lessons? What are some of the takeaways that you had from your first? Maybe there's more than a couple, but
Yeah. Well, you get lessons when you win, you get lessons when you lose, and we started off great. We started off 2-0, and things were fantastic, and then all of a sudden, we got bit by the injury bug a little bit, and then we kind of came back down to earth for a couple games, and then finished out the season with a 3-8 record. I guess the biggest takeaway is that you have to know what kids' capabilities are and what their incapabilities are before you really get good at coaching someone. Sure. And I just coming in, I got hired in April, and on paper, this kid looks like he can do this, and he's big, and he's fast, and he's this, and then you get underneath the lights, and you're like, all right, we're probably putting him not in the best position to succeed. Sure. So we always say that we want to get a bunch of guys on the bus, but it's more important to get them in the right seats on the bus, and that's what we're trying to do this year, is get kids in the right seats to put them in a place where they're going to be successful.
Well, I know as a fan, I went to several of the games, and on Friday nights, it's just so much fun. It's just a great local event, and one of the highlights for me in the first game was all of a sudden when they decided to play the national anthem, all the players on the team stood up on the bench, were arm in arm, and as I recall, they were even singing it. Mm-hmm. That didn't just happen.
No, that comes from up top. It started as a tradition at Westwood when I was there. We actually during the summertime we had a Navy SEAL come in and put us through a Navy SEAL workout, and he just talked about the big picture of things and how this is something that you get to do. It's not something that you have to do, and just to understand that we are all lucky to be able to go on Friday nights and be out there playing football and run around playing a game. And so, singing the national anthem is just kind of a reinforcement of that. The kids have taken to it. We go arm in arm, and it's just a sign of unity that we're here and we're happy to be there.
And you do that on the road games too?
We do it every single game.
Was there a moment or two last year that kind of hit you when you're standing on the sidelines and it's 4th and 2 at the 38-yard line, and you've got to make the decision, right? Or do you have assistants that do that?
No, I mean, it all depends. It's usually a collaboration. I tend to want to involve my coaches as much as I can. There are times when it's got to be a split-second decision, and I'm the head coach. I'll make it, but. 4th and 2, we're 39-yard line. If we're on offense, well, we don't have much of a kicking game. We don't have a kicker right now, so I know we're going for it. And it comes down to what's our best player, who's our best player. Let's try to get his hands on the ball and see what's going to happen. And a lot of it depends on what's been working throughout the game, and are there guys on the other team that we want to try to stay away from or run away from, or what's our best matchup. There's a lot that goes into it, but. That's what's exciting about, for me, that's what's exciting about football is those pressure moments and putting guys and finding guys on your team that thrive in those moments and want the ball and want to be a part of that.
The seat on the bus again, sort of.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, everybody likes sitting in the back of the bus because you don't have to pay attention to what's going on in front. But we want guys that are in the front of the bus that hey, their eyes are wide open and they see where they're heading. And we're finding that quickly this year.
Is there a lesson that you give these kids beforehand to be ready for that?
There is. Well, I mean, it starts in practice. You know what I mean, and that's the biggest challenge. And any high school football coach will tell you that, is that getting your scout team to practice as hard as they possibly can to give you some resemblance of the speed of what the varsity is going to face on a Friday night. And it's hard because they're on a scout team for a reason. They're probably a step slower. They might be a little bit younger. They might not be as experienced. But to get them to go as fast and as hard as they can so that the varsity is starting to prepare for that type of speed. But no matter what you do, on that first play is like, wow, it's like lightning. I mean, it really isn't. And you know, as much as you want, hey, this kid's going to run out to the edge, and you got to set the edge, and you got to stand right there. As soon as he's coming a lot faster than you're used to. And it takes a couple series for kids, especially high school kids, to kind of get into the flow of the game. And without that experience, it's really hard to get that. But you know, every game, every practice, we get a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's like that flywheel effect that as you turn it, it's going to stop, and then you're going to turn a little bit more, and it's going to be ahead of where it was last time, and you know that's where we're getting to.
Do you have a training staff that that helps with injuries? And
yeah, so we have a strength coach at Framingham. We also have a trainer that works there full time. At you know, for any bumps and bruises, she'll help, and you know, but a lot of that is the wintertime, is getting your body prepared to go through an 11-game football season. And you know, if you're doing all the right things in the weight room, those bumps and bruises are usually not that bad. You know, minus the catastrophic injuries that happen every once in a while, like Jimmy G happened yesterday. But you know, for the most part, knock wood, we've been healthy so far. We got to keep going.
So I want to see the games there on Friday night. You start at when? 7 o'clock?
We actually start at 6:30.
6:30. Okay.
Yeah. We try to get people there a little bit
you
early.
You have the band. The band is there. And
band
the
is fantastic. I
the
swear, some people. They come to see the band more than they come to see the football team sometimes.
My son was in a marching band. We used to go watch to see him do that.
Absolutely.
And is there a web? You have your games are all on the website for Framingham Athletics.
Yep. Yeah. If you. Coach Spear, I call him Coach Spear, and those athletic director. He updates everything during the game. If you go to his Twitter feed there, the Framingham Athletics Twitter feed, he'll update. You know, Framingham is up 14-8, or is down. You know, whatever it is.
Really?
So yeah, he'll keep you informed if you're not there.
And most of the games are televised either after, not live, I guess, right after it on the educational Framing FEC,
yes.
Framing Educational Station, which is affiliated in some ways with this station here. And the tickets are very expensive, right? I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah, it's I don't know how you can afford it.
It's like a Patriots ticket, right? It's under $100, huh?
Yeah. No, it's a great Friday night, I'll tell you.
Welcome inside Fenway Park for tonight's contest between the Framingham Flyers and the Natick Redhawks. I'm Brian O'Donnell alongside Nick Parga. It's a historic matchup here at Fenway. Flyers and Redhawks. The Flyers 5-5, Redhawks 6-4. Red Sox won a championship in this stadium. One of these teams looking to take home the Bay State Conference Championship. Nick, how are they going to get that done?
Yeah, you said that. Nick is at 6-4, and the Flyers sit at 5-5. Flyers win, they'll both be at 6-5, and the Flyers will, in fact, hold the season series against Natick. That'll launch them ahead of Natick in the division as number one in the Bay State Conference. As what you said earlier, 113th matchup in this historic rivalry between these two neighboring cities, between Natick and Framingham, and Natick holds a commanding lead in this series, 71-36-5.
Yep.
So the Flyers looking to bounce back. I'm excited.
Great job by our camera crew bringing you these replays, FVC TV. We're here bringing you Flyers football live at Fenway Park. First and 10 snap for Beverly at the 38-yard line.
There you go, RJ.
Looking deep, RJ Veal. And it's caught! RJ Veal all the way down the sideline! Touchdown, Framingham! 62 yards! Beverly to Veal! Touchdown, Framingham! What a pass! We've seen that all year. Beverly Veal on that fly route, one-on-one, as we've seen it the whole year.
And he did it on
Veal
the best.
connects.
He did it on the Natick's best and fastest player, Angel LeBron Jr. Just burned him. What a catch!
RJ Veal.
What a catch, RJ Veal.
62 yards.
Puts on the Jets. LeBron had no chance. Holy mother of upsets! I love it.
Well, fans, did we convince you that there's plenty of exciting, affordable, and accessible football right here in Framingham? I hope so. So now take a break from your TV. Get out and be a fan of live football. Share the excitement with your neighbors. Root for our Framingham Flyers. You may even know some of the players and the fans sitting next to you. So thanks for watching. If you'd like to see any of the full half-hour Framingham Fan2Fan episodes highlighted in this show, all episodes are viewable on your computer at youtube.com by searching for Framingham Fan2Fan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the stands.